Hello, I'm Vashti Hardy, the author of Brightstorm and Wildspark, and most recently, Dark Whispers. And I joined Golden Egg Academy about 5 years ago, before I was published. And I joined because I wanted to give the manuscript I was working on the best chance possible of making it to be published. But I got a lot of extra unexpected things along the way as well. So Brightstorm took me about, I'd say, a year to write, and I did feel quite confident about it because it was from an idea that I'd been wanting to work on for a while. I wanted to write something on explorers, but I hadn't quite found the right way to tell that story yet. So when I eventually had the idea of Brightstorm and creating that world, once I could see that world in my head and I could feel the atmosphere and the characters and the drive of it, then I was off, and I did feel like, oh yeah, I feel like this is very me, this story. And luckily my agent agreed too. So that's how Brightstorm kind of took flight, I suppose. Brightstorm wasn't the first story I wrote. I'd written several stories before. It wasn't actually the story that got me my agent either. The story I got my agent with was the story I worked with Golden Egg Academy on, and it didn't end up being picked up by publishers. But a little secret, the book, my fourth book with Scholastic that's coming out in February, is a regeneration of that idea in just a different way to tell it. So maybe, don't worry if your first book doesn't get published, that it may just not be your first book idea, or it may come back later in some other way, shape, or form. Who knows? I think it's really important to have other ideas germinating up your sleeve, kind of bubbling away out there, because your agent and your publisher always wants to sort of know, oh, what's next? What else have you got up sleeve? What else could we develop? So have them bubbling away, because you never know what's the right time for the right story. Also, we're not all about one book, are we? We're story people. We're about lots of finding your flavour of stories and sort of discovering who you are, and that's not about one book. Oh gosh, yes, I learned so much. Or when I was a teacher, I learned so much all the time from pupils, because their imaginations are so free and wild and willing to let go. So I've always tried to keep hold of that feeling of remembering what it's like to be a child and to let your imagination take you anywhere and have all these amazing possibilities. So I guess that's why I love writing fantasy as well, because you can completely transport yourself like you do as a child. So yes, brilliant things from the children that I learned. So I signed up about 5 years ago, I think it was. Maybe it was slightly longer than that, actually. Hard to remember, but at the beginning, in the early days of Golden Egg Academy. And the most important things that I learned, I think, were to, push on through with resilience, that to learn that it's okay to, get things wrong and to keep trying and to keep learning, to accept that being edited, I kind of knew this before a little bit anyway, but being edited can only serve to make your story better. I have a little thing that I always think to myself is, I'm in the business of story, and my job is to give children the best stories I can possibly give them. So editing, being edited by a great editor, is part of that process. They're just as important as the writer in growing your stories. You can't possibly see everything yourself as a writer. You can't have that sort of, objective viewpoint. So you need editors kind of who are out there, who can look in as well and sort of see things from a slightly different angle than you do yourself. And Golden Egg Academy is a brilliant place to work with these industry professionals and to get that perspective in a very nurturing and sort of friendly, supportive way, before then you go off and work with an agent and work with an editor at a publishing house those skills will hold you in such good stead if you learn how to embrace being edited and sort of love it for the experience it is, and all trying to make our stories the best we possibly can. So thank you. Happy eggs, all of you, and I hope that lots of you sort of enjoy your journeys and go on to get the skills that will sort of make you be the best writers you can possibly be. And that's all we all want, really, isn't it? Take care. Bye.